And we're back with another episode of Seth's Solo Side Quest. I'm Seth from the Lonely Stoner podcast, and this is episode 12 of my side quest. And like we usually do here, guys, we talk about a wide range of topics. We're going to talk about some MMA news, some boxing news, and then we'll see where we go from there. So I was recently reading an article, a boxing article regarding what rematches we want to see in 2025. So, of course, the first one, the biggest one we want to see is probably Usyk v Dubois twice. I think it really comes down to opinions on, do you think it was a low blow or legitimate body shot? I remember watching this fight. For me, it was a legitimate body shot. It was, but even so, don't hate the player, hate the game. The referee counted it, and not the referee didn't count it. The referee said it was like an illegal blow and then gave Usyk several minutes to recover, which he did, and then eventually knocked out Daniel Dubois in the 9th round. So, competitive to say the least. It was a very competitive fight. But then Dubois, that punch, and then Usyk recovered, and then he done what the greats do, recovered, changed game plan, and then was successful in knocking him out. But that's definitely not an easy fight for Usyk. I think Dubois is only growing in confidence now that Dubois has got that huge win over Anthony Joshua. He's going to think he's ready to take on the world, Dubois, and he's going to be coming to bang, and we'll see if Usyk can evade the punches. He couldn't in the first fight, but it didn't matter in the end because Usyk managed to stop him. Will Usyk be able to stop Daniel Dubois if they have a rematch? That being said, Joseph Parker is also on a 5-fight win streak, so it may be that Parker faces Daniel Dubois or Parker faces Usyk. Do you know what I mean? So if Parker beats Dubois, Parker will then face Usyk, and then the Usyk v Dubois match probably doesn't happen. And if it does happen, it doesn't happen until quite some years later. So, interesting situation the heavyweight division's in. I think if you're saying Tyson Fury's retired, AJ's not as big of a star as he used to be, Wilder's the same / retired. The heavyweight division's really struggling for stars at this moment, so Daniel Dubois could be the next hope for them. Of course, you've got Usyk, who's unbeaten and should be a much bigger star, but he's not really, because he's a smaller heavyweight, he's not English. There's a number of different factors there, but if Usyk and Daniel Dubois were to rematch, I'm probably picking Usyk to win that rematch as well, but I'd be super curious to know what you guys think for that as well. Next one would be Katie Taylor v Amanda Serrano. I guess so. I mean, both of these chicks seem to be pretty competitive when they fight. I'll be honest, I've not seen either of them fight. But from what I hear, there were 2 Fight of the Year contenders and 2 decisions that could have gone either way. Each fight has been very competitive each time. I don't know who's won each of the 2. I wouldn't say couldn't care less, but it's women's boxing at the end of the day. But Katie Taylor v Amanda Serrano, maybe if they've had a third fight, I'd watch it, but we'll see what happens there. I won't even give a pick on who would win because from reading it, it seems like a pretty competitive rivalry and could have gone either way each time. Who else have we got here? Johnny Allen v Johnny Allen. Johnny Fisher v Dave Allen. Now, Johnny Fisher is a guy he's probably, in terms of British heavyweights, he's the next big star, to be honest. He's one of the best ticket sellers in British boxing at the moment, without a shadow of a doubt. Outside of the big names that are obviously selling out the stadiums and doing arenas, Johnny Fisher is right on the cusp of being at that level in terms of popularity. So I remember he's from this sort of area as well, with the Romford Bull. He's from the Essex area. He would regularly sell 1,000 tickets by himself for undercard fights, which I don't think I can stress how rare that is in boxing in Britain at a low level. It's very rare for a guy with very little amateur pedigree as well. Very rare to happen. And then I remember he headlined his first ever event in July 2024 at the Copper Box Arena. Also wanted to go to that. Didn't get tickets in the end, but it was something that I really wanted to go to. Unfortunately, it didn't happen in the end. But I don't know if he sold it out, but sold 7,000 tickets. For him to face Alan Babbage when he stopped him in the first round. So, I mean, from a boxing point of view, I get why they did that match, because it was going to be Johnny Fisher's biggest platform. You get him there, make sure he wins. Because then he can show from strength to strength. And it was a mismatch in a lot of respects, but Johnny Fisher, you can only beat what's in front of you, and that's what he's done. He's unbeaten. He has, of course, fought Dave Allen before. He has fought Dave Allen before, and was a very close fight, from what I see. Dave Allen, some would say, probably won that fight. Somehow won that fight. Oh no, not somehow won that fight. In a lot of people's respects, people say Dave Allen comfortably won that fight. It was a split decision to Fisher. Boxing being boxing, he's an undefeated young prospect. It kind of happens there. So Johnny Fisher just about escaped with a split decision victory and still unbeaten, but people were saying it was grossly unfair. I probably would agree with that as well. That being said, we'd love to see a rematch. Allen v Fisher 2 would be a great fight to see again. Competitive, it was close. I think both guys can hit quite, well, the heavyweights, they can definitely hit quite hard. But yeah, would have been a super interesting fight to see again. Hopefully we do see it again at some point this year. But yeah, what else have we got here? What's next? Yeah, okay, so we've got Ben Rothwell winning the BKFC Heavyweight Championship. I'm not sure if he was already the champion or if he was defending it. But he got quite a very clean knockout in his bare-knuckle boxing fight. And is the champion now. Or I don't know if he always has been or if he's now, I don't know. I'm not looking into BKFC. But Ben Rothwell won with quite a vicious knockout, was quite clean. But now he's calling out Mark Hunt. Jesus. And the problem with organisations like this is they give guys like Ben Rothwell and Mark Hunt an opportunity to go out there and get more brain damage. I know you probably thought I was going to say the opportunity for these guys to make more money. Yes, it is. But there is a reason why these guys aren't fighting in the UFC anymore. They aren't able to keep up at the highest level. And this is the sort of sport, in particularly bare-knuckle boxing, the type of sport where you're already taking more damage than you need to, literally by doing it as bare-knuckle. But you add that on to decades of, damage that you've taken through MMA and sparring and training and all that, and then you add on bare-knuckle on top of that, you're just asking for trouble down the line. I hope these guys are getting paid well. I don't imagine they probably are getting paid that well, but I mean, when you're a guy like this, where else are you going to make some money? The UFC won't hire you because you're cooked. And even in MMA, anywhere you fight at a halfway decent level, if you fight in PFL or Bellator or wherever, you're still going to get knocked out because these guys are way past the level in terms of Ben Rothwell and Mark Hunt. They're way past the level, but they looks like this fight is going to happen in BKFC. I guess bare knuckle are sort of building up a brand for themselves. I mean, they've been around for a good few years now and have been putting on some events. They must be financially viable if they keep putting them on at this point. But Ben Rothwell, I'm not really excited to see Ben Rothwell fight again. I wasn't a huge fan of him as a MMA fighter. He was pretty sorry as hell, but he's winning fights in bare knuckle, so I can't knock him. But it looks like that'll be the next BKFC Heavyweight Championship fight, Ben Rothwell v Mark Hunt. I mean, it's bare knuckle, so it's going to be, every fight's going to be a pick'em because it literally only takes one punch to knock someone out. It's not like they're wearing gloves. It's not like you can have a good chin. Even if you've got a good chin, your eyes are getting swollen, your lips getting busted, your nose is getting broken. Like, you're still getting a beating. But yeah, bare knuckle fights, they're always going to be a gimme. Yeah, always going to be a gimme. There's no point really betting on it. I'd say Ben Rothwell because he's been more active and he's heavyweight champ, but Mark Hunt could easily walk in there and knock him out in 10 seconds, like quite easily. So we'll see. What else have we got here? Okay, we've got Oktagon 66. They've announced a $1 million tournament featuring European middleweights, featuring top European middleweights. So Oktagon is a sort of like a regional MMA company. I'll be honest, I've never seen a single fight from Oktagon. But I saw this article and I was like, this is a pretty interesting, well, it's a very interesting sort of idea, having a middleweight tournament, a whole million, 1 million euro tournament with 300,000 going to the winner. So that's the total amount of the tournament that'll be made by the winner, $1 million. 16 participants. So there have been a couple of UFC veterans, some that I know, some that I don't. David Zawada rings a bell. Krzysztof Jotko, know him. Andreas Michailidis, no idea who that is. Dana White Contender Series alum, Matej Benaz. Yeah, and then there's some other, I guess, regional European middleweights. I guess I'll go with Jotko because he's literally the only halfway respectable name that I even recognise. But yeah, Krzysztof Jotko, Jesus. But yeah, Oktagon's doing that. I thought it'd be interesting to talk about Oktagon 66. I see them here and there on Channel 4, Channel 5 when they've got their live shows. When they had a TV deal, that they may still have a TV deal. I've got no idea because I've never watched an Oktagon card ever. But they're probably one of the biggest. They're probably the biggest MMA organisation that's primarily in Europe. I'd say bigger than Cage Warriors. I mean, Cage Warriors aren't doing $1 million tournaments. So bigger than Cage Warriors, even though Cage Warriors probably has more iconic alumni. Right now in 2025, Oktagon's probably bigger. I guess if you're an upcoming fighter in England, you may prefer Cage Warriors because Cage Warriors are based in England. But Oktagon's probably the bigger company with the biggest earning potential in that particular company. Yeah, in the UFC, yeah, in Cage Warriors, if you win the championship, you're probably going to get called up to the UFC in your next fight. But you're not. Up until you get to the UFC, you're not really making serious money like that. You're probably making a couple grand to show, a couple grand to win. Even at Cage Warriors champion, I'd be surprised if you'd be making more than 20 grand if you won. But I could be grossly mistaken. But that's yeah, I'd imagine it wouldn't be anything more than that. But yeah, so we talked about Ben Rothwell. Jesus, he's gonna be fighting Mark Hunt. What it looks like. Talked about some boxing rematches we want to see. Usyk v Dubois, Fisher v Allen. And then we just talked about... What did we just talk about just now? See, I know I'm faded. Can't even remember what I just talked about. Oh, Oktagon. Yeah, Oktagon 66. So, yeah, like I said, we talked about a wide range of topics here and there, different stuff going on. That's been it from me. I'm Seth. This has been episode 12 of the Seth Solo Side Quest. And I'm out. Peace.